Hey guys, on this episode, I want to show you the end-all how to hang Christmas lights the Lawn Thumbs Freddy way. So if I don't show you a certain bulb or a color or a different kind of strand or a timer, that means I don't use those things. I'm only going to show you the things that I use and the practices I do. So hopefully it's going to help you. I try to keep it as simple as possible so it doesn't get too crazy, because you know, with Christmas light installation and what customers' visions are, sometimes it can be way too many things. This trailer will probably be too small to have all the different type of colors and bulb sizes and strands and all these other accessories. So I'm only going to show you the things that I do and how I sell it to customers and how I install it and what I use, and it's worked out really well for me, so hopefully this will help you. Alright guys, everything that you'll see on this table that I'll show you is what I have on my trailer. A couple of side notes. Remember, this is really dangerous work. Even the houses that don't look dangerous can be, and especially when you're up there, you realize how high you really are, and sometimes with steep slopes you can start feeling really uncomfortable. So some of the things that have helped me, especially because I'm getting a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails throughout the day, and a lot of times I'm up there on the roof. So that was actually one of the main reasons why I got the Apple Watch, was so that I didn't have to go in my pocket and I can just look at who's calling me and kind of keep up that way. The second thing is headphones. It's really important. You know, you may get an important phone call. They don't have to be wireless, but it's really important to have something so you can communicate if you're in a jam or just to answer a phone call. It's really nice to be able to be up there and look at who's calling you, answer it if you need to, without having to reach and look around for your phone. So if you need a reason to tell your wife why you need an Apple Watch or an EarPods, you're welcome. Another thing is the Leatherman. Like I've said this before, I have a Leatherman. It's basically made for sprinklers, but the main tool that you'll need is this cutting bit right here to be able to cut the wire, and also use the pliers to pull apart the wire when you need to, you know, make a connection or plug into one of these hardware that I'll show you. And I always carry an extra sharp cutting pliers just in case, you know, sometimes you may have a helper and it's good for them to have one floating around. This is one of the tools that I'm always looking for at the end of the day. I have a special shelf just for this, so I recommend that you always have an extra one when you go out. Staple gun, super important. Don't go crazy and stapling everything. I only use this when I absolutely don't have a gutter to clip onto, panels. Sometimes you'll walk up to a house and it's all wood. I'll tell the homeowner, hey, I've got a staple gun. It's not commercial quality, it's not commercial strength, so you don't have to worry about, you know, damaging the wood with this little gun. It goes in the holes, and then you can literally just wiggle them out, and I haven't had any problems with this. Now, there are shingle clips. Unfortunately, sometimes you're at the mercy of the supplier as to what style gutter clips they have. I happen to have both of these because I bought a whole bunch last year that were like this. Now they came out with this one that's a little more sleek and it hides the shingle clip a little bit better. There's pros to both, but these are the ones they're selling now. I just still have a whole case full of these, and I'm probably gonna have them for years and years because you don't use them all the time. Now, I've had friends who actually only use gutter clips and shingle clips. Every house, every single bulb. I don't do that because I feel like the clips that come with the lights look better. The reason why they do that is because to take them off, it's really easy. You literally get to the end and you just swipe like that and all the shingle tabs will fly off, making it super easy. Now, average time for us to take down Christmas lights is between 25 minutes and 30 minutes. To me, that's not very long. The average time taking these off, probably down to 10 to 15 minutes. So it's a lot faster, but putting it away, rolling it up, if they all had shingle tabs or gutter clips, it can kind of make the roll really big and clunky when you go to put it away. So that's the only con to that. Next are the replacement clips. Really important. You should always have a case of these to start the season. I have 2 this year because they're that important to me. When you buy these clips, you usually can get a bag of say 50 or the whole case. And that's the case with all of these. That's why I have the bags out, so you can see that's how you buy them. Very rarely do you just buy 1 or 2 clips. You'll need to buy at least a bag at a time. These are really important because when it gets really cold, the regular clips that come with the strand can snap off just because it's cold and they bent. So it's really nice to have these on hand. Next are the magnetic clips. They're just like the regular replacement clips, except they don't have a clip, they have magnets. Now, you would be surprised how few houses actually have magnets. Most of the gutters and the paneling is all aluminum, so it won't stick to it. It's really annoying. So I don't use these very often. The other negative about the magnetic clips are you have to pretty much have them all lined up, and you have to be holding the end strand so that these clips stick, because if you let go, it's not strong enough to hold the rest of the strand and they'll all fall off. So, you know, it takes some getting used to. If you do have an opportunity to use magnetic clips, don't get frustrated. Just know once you figure it out, it will go smoother, but there is a learning curve with these. Next are the female plugs. You'll always need the male and the female plugs. Right now they're making them clear, which is actually really genius. I still have a whole bunch of brown, a whole bunch of white, a whole bunch of green, which I still can use. Even though I still have them readily available for me, I still use these clear ones because I think they look better. So that's that. And then next we have the end caps. The end cap is so when you get to the end, you don't have to use the electric tape, you know, like we used to do in the old days. Now you actually put a cap, it looks really professional. You can even leave it like this at the end of a house. Nobody will say anything, it'll look professional, and you won't have that electric tape just kind of out there for everybody to see. It holds the moisture really well out, so I've been really impressed with these. In fact, I always buy a case of these because, believe it or not, there's only 50 in here, and you actually go through some houses. I did a house yesterday and I used 4 of them. So you don't just use 1 at every house, so be mindful of that. Next is the keep it simple rule. I only use 4 colors: warm white, green, winter white, and red. If I'm only using the color white at a house, I'll use winter white. If I do red, white, and green, I'll do warm white in that one. And basically that's so that if I'm doing a red, white, or green house, I always know it's warm white. So I'll usually tell the customers that too at the house. I'll say, if they choose red, white, and green, or red and white, I'll say, hey, that's gonna come with a warm white. Again, I keep it simple so I can have my inventory fresh and go through it really fast and good, and then I'm always stocked. I don't have too many, different color bulbs. So I just keep it simple, and with those 4 little colors, you can make a whole bunch of different patterns. You can do all white. I do have customers that really want the warm white, and we'll make an exception and do that kind of thing if they're really set on it. They can do red and white. I'm doing just red and green color. With those 4 colors, you can actually do a lot. And again, it's really simple for us. It's simple to show people what kind of colors they can choose, and we keep it going that way. Next, you'll need timers. These are photo cells, so they turn on when the sun goes down, and then you can program them from dusk till dawn once the sun goes down, or 2 hours to turn off after the sun goes down, 4 hours, 6, or 8. These are really simple. Every once in a while I'll get a customer who says, hey, I really want them to turn on at 8 p.m. sharp, and I want them to turn off at midnight right on the dot. And I tell them, we don't offer timers like that. You're gonna have to buy your own timer and program it yourself and hook it up that way. The reason is that sometimes those timers can be a little confusing to program, and it takes up time, and you may get somebody that's never programmed one before, and we could do it wrong. So I'd rather just put that on the customer, let them do it, but these are really simple. So I've been doing this for about 7 years, and I've only had 2 customers that demanded a timer with a clock on it. The rest have all been fine with this. I've got these little extender plugs. Mainly, the reason why they sell these at the store is what they would say it's so that if you're doing a tree, you can plug a whole bunch of strands to it and then move on to the next thing. Since I don't do trees, the main reason why I use these is so that when they already have stuff plugged in their porch, like lighted up Santa Claus or jack-o'-lanterns or whatever it may be, I can just take one out, put this on, plug theirs back in, and then put our timer on here. So that's mainly the main reason why I use these. I always try to have like 4 or 5 on hand at all times because you don't go through this very much. It's not like you're going to use this at every house. It's only the ones that like they go crazy and have all kinds of stuff on their property. Next, I've got these cable ties for different colors. Now, the reason why these are good to have on hand is like if you wanted to just make sure that every peak you knew when you were unrolling your strand to start a house that you've already put away from last year, you can mark things. You can mark the start location with a certain color, so that way everybody on your team knows, oh, there's the pink one, so that means we start on the right lower level or whatever. Blues for peaks. Hey, this is a peak. Or sometimes you have so much wire that you just unplug each level of the house and you can totally color code each level. You just tie it to the strand and it'll stay on there really well. And then you can cut that long piece and it'll just be right there out of the way. Nobody will ever notice it until they know what they're looking for. So this is come in handy. I don't do much of this, but I should. I just wanted you to know that's how you would be able to mark a house up, to know where you're supposed to light it up. Next is the ZWire. They come in different colors. White and green is the most popular. Again, I still have a brown strand because they used to make it, now they don't, but I still have it. This is where you would plug into the timer from the roof line. You make this long enough and you put it in. So when you're putting in a plug, you have to splice it that way. You just put it in and then you press on the 2 prongs that you'll see. I usually use the cap to tighten the prongs to press it in even better. Or you could just slide it in. It's meant to just be slid in like that. And then with that, this would be plugged into the wall. And then you plug it in, and then the other end you plug into the roof line. And that's what the ZWire is for. So it's really important to always have some of this on hand. Then I've got tape, and I use Gorilla Tape. So I still need to get brown. I couldn't find a brown tape yet. This is good tape because you can hide the ZWire underneath the door if you had to on the patio, and then you can put this tape on concrete and it holds really well. Also, it's really easy to cut by hand. So if I just wanted a little strip like that and then tape it against like the corner of the patio or something on the bricks, it would hold really well. And then I can go up or whatever. So anyway, there's many different applications for this. I'm just giving you a couple of samples. Next, we got the battery-powered glue gun. Really important. There's sometimes you're up really high and there's no clips, especially on brick buildings or houses. You warm this up and then put a little dab on the concrete or on the brick, and then you can either press one of these magnetic ones because it's got a back, and then you can clip in your light in that. So I highly recommend getting these Cougar Paws. They run big, so if you're a size 10, you may want to get a size 9.5. And even still, they'll still be a little big. So whatever size you are, you may want to go a half size smaller because they do run big, but these are well worth it. These were $185 directly from the Cougar Paws website, and they come with one pad. I can't remember how much the replacement pads are. I want to say they're $60. But again, I've done 2 houses with these, and I've never felt so safe. I used to use Ani hiking boots, and those work well too. But these, I think, they're designed for the roofs, first of all, and I felt really safe. So I definitely recommend getting these. And then got the vest. This is so you can carry a whole bunch of like replacement clips. So what I do at every house I get to, I'll look at the house and I'll go, okay, I'm gonna need at least this many gutter clips, at least this many end caps. Sometimes I'll put like a big bag of the shingle tabs in a pocket. And the reason is because sometimes it's just easier to get to it if it's in the big bag than just all over the place. So, but I will put a whole bunch of these in a pocket, a few of the magnetic clips if I feel like I'm gonna need it. If I don't feel like I'm gonna need anything, I don't put it in the vest. So it's not like you get to the house and just stock up your vest every house. I only stock it up with what I think I'm gonna need. Average house, believe it or not, you'll use about 7 female plugs and 7 male plugs on average, every house. Unless it's just a straight line, but if there are peaks, if there's more than one level on the house, you may use 5 to 7 or more male and female plugs. So I'll always stock, I'll look at the house and I'll put like 10 of each, and then I'll put the backs in there too. So I just stock it for what I think I'm gonna need at the house. I don't go crazy and fill it up. I'm sure all vests are different everywhere. This is directly from Village Lighting. They stopped making them for a couple years, but I heard they're making them again. So I would definitely recommend getting these. These vests are also good for blowing out sprinkler lines, but that's a whole nother story. There's an actual section on the back that opens up so you can put ZWire in here. So when you're up on the roof, you can have it in your vest and you can pull it out. There's a little trick to actually pulling it out, but at least it's there for you. So if you need to connect one section with another, it's right there. It also has a section here for your phone, and if you had wired headphones, highly recommend getting it. Measuring wheel, really important. This is how we measure roof lines, but you know, I've heard that people are doing it with apps or straight on Google Maps. I just rather get out, look at it, just kind of see for real how I think I'm gonna feel if I'm up there. And so I can price it better that way, looking at the house. We just take it and we walk the roof line on the sidewalk, and we get actually pretty accurate measurements with this. Okay, if you didn't have the vest, I would highly recommend getting this bucket from King Innovation. Comes with these compartments. That, to be honest with you, I actually stopped using this once I got the vest. I just started stocking up my vest, and this kind of became something that I don't use very often, but it can hold a ton of accessories, just a ton. Comes with all that. If I were to stock it all up, I'd have enough to do a bunch of houses. I usually get an empty one. I have another bucket, so I have like 2 more of these bigger ones. I empty this out and I only put different color bulbs in each one. And so when I'm putting bulbs on a strand, it's really easy to just, do every bulb that way instead of trying to get them out of a box. So that's one of the reasons why I still use this. But as far as storing everything, the vest does that for me. But I highly recommend you at least get this because it will come in handy at some point. Next, we have the Strands. Some places, they'll actually measure how much you need and price it by the foot. They also have other strands that'll be 6 inches apart, a foot apart, and who knows, there's probably a 2 foot apart. These are 1 foot apart. And these are the ones I've always used and I'll always continue using. So this is a spool of 1,000 feet, and you can buy it that way, or you can buy it in strands of 100 feet. That's really popular. I'd rather buy it in 1,000 foot spool, so that way you can customize it. With 100 feet, you may run out halfway. I mean, it's all good. You're just gonna have a connection somewhere you may not want if you buy it in 100 foot. But a lot of places, that's the only way they sell it, and if they do, well, you can make it work for sure. So you can buy it in 1,000 foot spool, 100 feet, or they'll custom cut it wherever you buy it from. Okay, so this is a sample clip we made of all these lights so that we could show the customer there's a Christmas light call. Let's go. This is what happens when we get a phone call for Christmas lights. Tara's in her costume because it's Halloween, so.
All right, so for your house, it should be between $325 and $500, but we'll send someone out to meet with you and get you an exact estimate on that. Does that work for you? Okay, perfect. I can send someone out today.
This is awesome, Tara. So we actually got a phone call for Christmas lights, and Tara gave them, pre-qualified them with a price, and did they sound like, you know, that was okay price, $350 to $500? So, and they said, yeah, that sounds good. They're expecting us to come out and do a real measurement and give them an official estimate, but at least we know that we're not wasting our time. So a lot of times we'll give them that price over the phone based on the size of their house, and they'll say, oh, that's more than I was thinking, so never mind, don't even come out. So we don't waste our time. So we at least know that we have a nice warm lead by the time we get there, and we gotta show them the lights, the strands, and give them a price. Thank you. Nice costume, by the way.
Thank you.
We're superheroes here at Lawn Thumbs. Okay, so now going off of what just happened, our next step is to take this to the client, and I've made this strands a little different. So this is the real measurement of the strands, but I've added these two in between. Got shot a little, so they can just see the pattern. Because if it was the normal way, they wouldn't be able to see the actual pattern. So I would show them this, and they would say, yeah, these colors are really nice. This is the one I want. And this is also a good opportunity for me to show them how the timer works. By the way, this is something that really we threw together. You know, I know there's a bunch of people out there probably can make this look a lot more professional than us. It's just easy to handle. I threw it together one day and it works really well. Also, a little side note, I went to a Christmas seminar. I go to Christmas light seminars every year just to see if there's a new hardware out there that make my life a little bit easier, or learn some tricks. And this year, the big takeaway that I took from this Christmas light seminar that I went to was to tape cinnamon sticks in the back of these. I know that sounds kind of funny, but it kind of gets the customer in that spirit of like, smells like Christmas, they're looking at the lights. And from that seminar that I went to, they actually did research and said that people that were putting cinnamon sticks somewhere, whether in their pocket or on their sample box like this, sales increased by 60%. So I don't know, but you tell me I can do something and my sales will go up, I'm gonna give it a shot. So we actually went to the supermarket and just found some cinnamon sticks. And so we're taping them in the back of our samples. So this is where I would show the customers at the same time as they're looking at the lights how to operate the timer. So when the sun goes down, here's the sensor right here. So if you give it a few seconds, let's assume the sun went down, they would turn on, and then they'd stay on for about 2 hours. And then once the sun comes up, or if you had it on from dusk till dawn, and the sun came up in the morning, it would turn off. Hey, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. Hey, stay tuned for the next video. That'll be part 2. And I'm actually gonna install the house that we got that call at the office for. We're gonna install that one, so stay tuned for that.